Alright, Kasa, I'm gonna make this a little bit unorthodox commentary on your game because my microphone is pretty much dysfunctional. So I'm gonna use my hand camera and a chessboard. Alright, let's go into your game. So he played d3, e5, e4, knight f6, knight to f3, knight to c6, and knight to c3. And I think this is the first point to stop here. I hope you can understand the board. See the board now. It's a little bit on the dark side, but try to hang on to my commentary here. All right. Now, I think that you, in general, shouldn't just follow white's play if you play something like d3 here in this kind of position. Not that d3 is a bad move. It's just a little bit passive because this bishop is locked in and can't go anywhere that functional. And I think that for these reasons you should just play your bishop out, let's say to b4. I think it's a more active choice, but it's not that important. It's more a matter of style. But just please do not play the bishop to c5 quite yet, because in this kind of position white has tricks. He can actually play knight takes e5, and after recapture with the knight he can play d4 and enter some positions where you might not know what to do, and white might get an advantage because of that. So bishop to c5 is not to be recommended in this kind of position, but bishop to b4 perfectly fine. So, but you played d6. It's not the end of the world. It's just copying white. Bishop to e2 there, and bishop to g4. Now, you say that if the knight moves, you would exchange your bad bishop to his good bishop. Now, this is not true. This bishop is the bad bishop. It's on the same color as these two guys here. So this is actually your good bishop because the bad bishop is in here. So in general, the bad bishop is the one that is on the same color as the central pawns, or most of the pawns you have. And this is the bishop that is hemmed in by this pawn. So with that respect, this is a bad bishop, and this is a bad bishop. Okay. So he castled, and queen to d7, and now you have to think about this, what position is arriving pretty soon. You're going to castle on the queen side, and he has castled on the king side. So we have opposite side castling, and in this opposite side castling, pawn storm is in general the right way to play the game. Alright? Now queen to d7 was the last move, and he played knight to d5. And yes, I think you're right to exchange it, but after that you should be a little bit careful. You exchange, he takes d5. Now you point that you don't want to play knight to d4 because you don't want to exchange pieces, but really if you play knight to d4, you're just losing a piece, aren't you? Knight takes d4 there, and what happens next? Well, if you take back the knight, you're going to lose a bishop here. And if you take back if you try to insert this bishop move here, well, he can do two things. He can either capture with the queen, and you can't recapture because there's a pin on the king, or he can just take back with the knight. He has one apiece. So you can't play knight to d4, and knight to e7 is a good move. No problem with that. c4. Now, when I saw c4, I thought, okay, castling queen side is not the way to go here. It's simply because white may be having a head start with the pawn storm, and I'm not quite sure if it's true, but c4 gave me the feeling that maybe you shouldn't castle queenside quite yet. Maybe develop a couple pieces first, see what happens, kind of go with the flow. Also, you have some advantage of this king defending f7 for the moment when his knight goes to f4 in g5, for example. So I think that the timing wasn't perfect for the castling. Right, but you castle on the queen side, and he plays d4. Now, I think he doesn't have that much of reason to open the center. He does win a pawn in the game, and if you would capture, that would be good for him, but I think he doesn't have that much of a reason to open just now. I think he has to develop some piece, maybe something like bishop to e3 first. I think that's a little bit more reasonable. Or just go for the pawn storm with something like b4. Just attack. Boom. I think this is the time for white to attack. d4 is maybe not the right move here. I think e4 is a nice pawn. Actually, at first I thought you were just losing a pawn, but maybe you're getting something, you're getting some development in return, and it's not development is the most important factor here, because you have castled on the queen side and he has castled on the king side. So if you have a better development, chances are you're better. You're way well in the game. So e4 and knight g5, you exchange quite rightly, and after the exchange you play knight g8. Now maybe you're just too eager to go to the square g4. Maybe the knight should just go to f5 here. Maybe that's a little bit more active square. I mean, it doesn't differ much from the game. You could go to h4, h6 in the next move, but the knight would be, for the moment, a little bit more active. Just to give you some idea, it's not the end of the world, this knight g8 either. So he takes, you play rook to e8, taking the file, which is quite right, queen d3, and okay, you play knight to h6. Now I think this is not the right move. I think these kinds of positions you should go for the pawn storm immediately, and the pawn storm being here or something like h6, g5 next. Well, not that knight to h6 is only a bad move. It has its merits, and he shouldn't really take this blunder. More or less. d7, which is the correct move. You don't want to exchange the bishop now. It's this knight might get trapped here, as you say, so you don't want to exchange the bishop. Quite right. And yeah, this move is a little bit slow because he has this idea, and I think maybe you could even consider playing g6 here. I mean, I don't know. If he takes, you can take the knight, and you can double on the h-file really fast. I don't know, something to think about. But yeah, he plays that. You exchange queens. Maybe you shouldn't. I think you have an advantage after he has taken the knight because you have the open h-file. So I don't think you should exchange the queens now. Just to give you an idea. Now I'm running out of time. I want to show you one more thing. Yes, you are missing the fork, but let's see this. You play this move here. 492. Now here you have a strong move. I hope you can find it. You have a much stronger move than knight takes c1. You actually have this pretty nice move, rook takes h2, and king takes h2, rook h8, and checkmate follows after something like bishop to h4, rook takes h4, checkmate. So that's about it.